All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are underway with our first set of the day. It's Misery versus Night Owls, and we got Ducky on the killer for Misery, looking for 4 survivors, and we're here on Rotten Field. Q, are you excited?
I'm super excited. I always love seeing the off-meta killers. I'm a big Pyramid Head fan, just as far as we talk about the killer overall. So let's kind of see how our best, some of our best killers in the world are able to handle things. You see Ducky working around the pallet, going to be able to get the M2 applied here, which is going to end up sending our ace straight into the middle of the map. It actually looks like Ducky looking to spread pressure here, and I like this call. That helps give you some additional slowdown, especially because you can be so punishing at a window and get a second M2 just like that.
Yeah, I think it's a really good decision to get 2 hits straight away off the bat, especially interrupting Rats and whatever Rats was getting up to, and he's getting up to the edge of the map right now. Has to go down into corner. It's an unfortunate start for Rats, and a really, really good start for Ducky. He's going to look for his first pain res, and hopefully he's got it right next to him. I don't think he's got much of a choice if he wants to go to another one. We'll have a look as this comes in. Oh, he is going to go. He's going to go all the way. If a hit comes in here, that's a body block and a wiggle. So are they coordinated enough? Can they get here? Yeah, he sees it. No, he can't hook. No way he makes it back this in time. It's going to be so close. Rats wiggles off, and the heal comes in and win to edit.
Tried to get greedy, and understandably so. Like why so, right? Obviously bigger slowdown there would have been huge, but instead now you don't even get a hook out of it. Rats is just going to hold Shift W to the opposite side of the map here, where I believe we had some of our corrupt gens before the down, which will buy additional space for the rest of the survivors to start working on the gens, especially noticing down there in that left-hand corner. Oh, nice shot though through the 2 walls. Good read here by Ducky, but we've already got the heal across, so right now they're just simply holding them one hit and some skill checks, the easy part of DBD.
Yeah, and a really good start for the game has just turned into a not so good start for Ducky. He does get the pain res on the hook though, so there is that redeeming factor. But yeah, I'm a bit frustrated with that play. I felt like Ducky had a really good start. There was no need to get greedy, especially if you're going into a hook towards the middle of the map. There was kind of a 90% chance there was going to be a body block there ready to go, and he got hit straight with it. Doesn't even get the hit as well, just dropped Rats for free, not getting any damage, and he's having a look to try and interrupt David, but I think he spotted a survivor up on the tractor. It's the new tractor. How's he going to play it? Balance landing isn't there. Winter edit is going to take a hit, and now Ducky's heading straight back towards the hook.
And he's going to be able to see, actually catches Doug on their way in. Just going to hold the M2. Make sure you time it right. You get the M2 on the 1. You didn't get the endurance hit on the second, but you at least got yourself 1 health state change. You also got another gen that got popped across the way. That's going to be the first one. I think we had another survivor that had a decent amount of progress. It was a David, of course, so he's going to have to get healed here. But now you got to be worried as far as finishing this chase with Ducky. Working your way around the pallet, that could be very, very tough to work around here. So Rats gets picked up here. That's going to be a second hook stage, but it is already 2 gens down.
Yeah, and I was a little bit surprised actually that he held, because he actually had to hold the power on that hook for quite a while. He didn't go for an M2 and then just try and trade onto David. Given that Rats is the obsession, he's running Rancor. I know Rancor's mainly used for the information around the map, but there's always that redeeming factor if you just want to kind of get some explosive pressure and have something swing your way. So interesting he decided to go for the full time out on Rats, and is now going to be looking for one of his 2 injured survivors. It's just very important he doesn't find Youngjin, because that would be a horrible chase to take.
Do you have 2 injured survivors though, so that could be working in your benefit. The only problem is I don't see Ducky really looking to try and move too far away from the shack. I mean, understandably so, right? Your death hook is already sitting down there. You only need 1 more progression. You kind of get the ability to monitor a couple of gens. Decided to kick that gen twice. No one moves in for the save here, but also worth noting, our survivors haven't healed, so they're more than likely just simply chilling out on the generators on the outskirts of the map. And you've got our David at 50% on 1 gen. We had another one that had a decent amount of progress here as well. You kind of understand why you just go ahead and pull them 1, right? Like, why go for a basement hook when you can just spread this pressure across 3 separates, right?
Yeah, you'd have to spend time basically healing 2 survivors, or even just 1 survivor, and I think that's definitely the right call from the survivors, to just hold those 3 gens. Even if 1 goes down here, it feels like it should just be a 2k for Pyramid Head, because these other gens should be being pumped soon, and David's gen is going to be at 50%, so actually a very good situation the survivors will find themselves in. And I won't be surprised if they now go for the reset into going into this endgame stage. 3 versus 1, 1 gen to go, and David's gen, he's going to be hooked by the hook, is going to be at 50%, but I'm sure they might just go and cop on another gen.
Yeah, I mean, the good news for you here for our survivors is it's a fresh hook, so if you really wanted to, you could just leave them hang, and double up on that gen after the reset, right? But it doesn't look like they're resetting. It looks like they're actually going to split here. It does look like Winter Edit is on one gen over by the shack-ish area. That little missed skill check here is going to give Ducky some map information, although it looks like Ducky might think that that's meant to be a deterrent, meant to kind of be a distraction, which is the case. You've got the unhook coming across. Now Ducky's got to make a decision. Do you go for the other full healthy survivor that is also a fresh hook, or do you go for the tunnel out? Looks like we're going for the fresh.
Yeah, I think it's the right decision here. I don't think I'd be too happy with 6 stages.
Right.
Because I feel like the other team's always going to kind of complete 5 gens unless you get a bonkers kind of sequences with Pyramid Head. So going first as killer, you don't really know what you're playing for. I think going for more than 6 stages is the right call. But this chase has got to be fast. He got the M1 quickly. Now fakes the bolt, doesn't pull the trigger. He does now at the perfect time. Takes down Yatos round the edge of that long wall. And now he's going straight back to the gen. Is this more greed or is this the right decision?
I think it's the right decision, especially because you've been able to find a survivor that is injured. So you can leave one slug. The other one only needs a simple M1 or even an M2 to get put down on the ground. And you can see trying to moonwalk, trying to cover up that red stain just a little bit. Goes for a risky shot down the long side of our wall here. Not going to be able to make a connection. Now Ducky has to be worried about that inner timer. At what point do we go back and retrieve our slug, since that is a full, fresh stage survivor? Does look like they're also crawling away. Could make this harder. Adrenaline comes into play here as well. That's huge.
Yeah, that is massive, and the greed comes back around to bite him once again. He tries to go for a little bit more, and he gets hit with adrenaline. David, back on that gem, never moved across the side of the map. I feel like it just slipped Ducky's mind slightly. The adrenaline comes through, perfectly played from the survivor team. Now Yatos is just going to stall as long as possible. I mean, do they want to try and get David in to take the hit because he's got 2 stages left on him? Or is that a bit risky? And you're like, okay, we'll take 7 stages, 3 fresh hook. That's a good result against Pyramid Head. We trust our killer to do even better. They go for the reset, and the double range isn't quite enough to get Yatos just yet, who's actually moving to another tile now.
Yeah, and you've also got a pallet up over here. This is a little bit more of a risky tile to play around if you're this killer here, because obviously you got plenty of space. You got some good checkpoints here. Now trying to go for those risky M2s is going to be able to finally connect, and I would imagine with that there, they are probably gonna, well, would you take the out here? I mean, you don't know yet as far as what else they could be running, right? Because I mean, you haven't had anything exposed. I don't even know if, I guess they probably know about the Ren Force. I don't mind about that, but you don't have to worry about an obsession. So, I mean, could you make an end play gameplay? It's a long way to the gates here.
I feel like they could.
Yeah.
No, they're just going to leave straight away. So it's 7 stages, 3 fresh hooks, and survivors completing all 5 gens. Remember, that is the primary win condition. The generators, once you've met that condition, you move on to the hooks and then fresh hooks to decide it out on the scoring format. Yeah, really good performance by the survivors, and Yatos did really well there. They got the heals in, but I think they were just doing that because they were waiting out, no way out. But yeah, really, really good and promising signs for Team Night Owls to come. But we're going to head to a short break, and we'll see how Night Owls can do with their killer.
All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog, back out and seeing some corn. We got a winner out here on the Pyramid Head, out here in some rotten field. 7 stage with the 3 fresh hook being the tie. 8 with the 3 fresh hook, or 4, or I guess 7 with the 4 fresh hook, obviously being the win condition here. I feel like as much as it felt like we were going to be seeing a better performance after a couple mistakes in match number 1, our survivors still have a chance to really kind of push back with the first couple of chases here.
Yeah, I think so. Like, the survivors were looking really, really strong, but getting the full 3 stages onto the last survivor was pretty big. So 7 stages is not it's not bad to put up at all, and it's definitely defendable for our survivors. And Duck is going to have the first crack at it as we head towards this little filler. No power just yet, and I wonder if he's on cooldown. Doesn't want to pull it out just yet. Now we do. Around the tractor, through the hay bales, back into the short wall. Is he going to pull the trigger? No! Gets the ball and gets away with it. What a play there from Ducky. He can play Pinhead. He can play Ace.
That's big here because you're going to be able to get plenty more time. You know, who better to get the redemption after the killer game? Unfortunately, not going to be able to make their way through the doorway before getting hit with the M2, but we do see applied a forehead. It's applying that pallet across the forehead of Winter here. Now it's actually going to cause Winter to break chase, makes this chase last a little bit longer. Does run into a generator that has quite a bit of progress, but obviously don't want to stop and kick that thing. We're like 60 seconds into this trial, only 1 injured state. Winter's going to need to try and step things up, especially because you are taking chase with a fully healthy survivor here.
You are, but Neo came off the gen a little bit, so I'm not sure how far progressed the gens are going to be. We've got Corrupt up as well. We saw survivors around that area, so I wouldn't think things are too bad right now, but he does need to confirm this. You're absolutely right. There we go. First hit on. Oh, and important to note, Ducky actually got healed, so they went for the reset on Ducky straight away. Apply. Gets tormented as well.
This is big. It's going towards Cowtree here, though, so maybe potentially going for a juice. Nice firecracker here as well. Buys some space. Able to make it to the other side of the wall here. A little bit longer of a tile. This could break some plenty of time that's needed here. Going to be able to avoid the M2. That buys you more time to get over to this tile that is towards the left. It is, unfortunately, only a pallet jungle gym, so not much to work with, but apply to forehead juicing right now. Able to avoid another M2. Able to allow for the first gen to get done. Wouldn't be surprised to see them cranking out a second here shortly, but you got to make sure you're staying on your feet.
Yeah, and Winter Edit is just breaking every single pallet here. This chase is getting awfully long, and they need to end this now. We saw Ducky closing their chases pretty quickly. Yes, Winter Edit has the torment, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough at this stage. If this chase continues much longer, loses the 50-50 on the tractor, swings around, can't get back to it, and applies to forehead, going all the way around again. They're not going to have enough distance for anything more, but what a fantastic chase for apply to forehead to kick things off. Yes, they're tormented, but they have done wonders for their team.
And even just kind of like the small things of making sure that when you go down, you go on the other side of like the tractor here, so there's no super close hook. Makes the process just a little bit longer, maybe getting a little bit closer to that third gen. We know they haven't had to work on reset anybody for quite some time, and now the pressure's on Winter, because Winter does not have the ability to like secure this hook. You need to go out and find some more stages, which means the unhook should be for free.
Yeah, no, 100%. He needs to get more stages. But the thing to note there, like what we could see, what Winter Edit doesn't know, is that Ace was screaming on the gen, and his gen wasn't far progressed, so that is going to be the most progressive gen. About 30%, gets hit with the very delayed head-on. I don't even think that's a ping issue. That is just head-on works that way sometimes. Quick and quiet from Abby, proving wonders. Now taking it towards the TNL wall. No, it's going to path away there. When if it said Pyramid on a little chase, it did not. Now going to have to play this pallet. No way you make that window vault without getting hit. Runs straight through. Abby, no fear. Fortune favors the brave. She goes round again. Is she going to drop the pallet this time? No, she doesn't. Now she does, which means Pyramid has to break if he wants to continue this. She's going to go ahead and just play the TNL walls.
And the survivors here making up for what was a little bit of a lackluster performance on the killer side here, really stepping up to the challenge. Only one health stage right now that is on Abby. Everyone else still fully healthy. You've got a third gen popping across the way here. Now Abby's going to be going to the TNL. You still have this pallet down over here you can work around as well, which makes it so you can use this tile, which has a little bit longer of a work. You eventually are going to end up falling, I was going to say victim to that M2, because you don't have too far to go, but plenty of time bought, and that's only hook stage number 2.
Yeah, they saved Nia before she hit second stage. So a lot of work for Winter Edit to do. He's going to go back and hit another Pain Res hook. But I don't think he's going to win this game off Pain Res alone. We need to see these chases being closed out just a little bit quicker. He won just the basic M1 on the TNL. But apart from that, the M2s have been, it's been more missed than hit by quite a long shot. He's going around now to try and find the survivor who's been working on this gen. He needs to find them quick, and he does. He finds this, it should be an M1, and he goes straight into an M2. The pallets around this side of the map are all gone, so Winter Edit just needs to be a little bit clinical, and there should be a very, very quick down onto another survivor. That will be his third fresh secured.
Yeah, Cheese needs to try and figure out some way to make a lot out of nothing over here, because you mentioned the lack of pallets, but is just going to hold Shift W here at this point. Gets away from the generators that are still up and need to be completed, so that's at least a really strong move here. I think you might be able to make the vault, but where do you go? You don't have live. All you're doing is just hold W around this thing. Eventually goes down, but generator number 4 gets done in time before that third hook stage comes in. And you've got a flashlight blind as well for the save.
What angle? How on earth? I feel like Winter Edit must have been running Shadowball. That was a Shadowball angle, thick and thin, and oh my gosh, Cheese gets away with it. That was a very pivotal moment, because I don't think Winter Edit needs to get another 5 stages, and the last gen pops. Yes, you've got no edge, but you need so many more survivors to get. Cheese has adrenaline. The health state isn't going to matter, but the speed is. They get so far away, and now the power isn't going to be able to down in one. He has to find an M1, and I wonder if he's going to try and bait it out. No, hit straight for the M2, but they need 5 more stages to win 4 fresh.
Yeah, at this point, you just hold over here. You're so far away from the door. It doesn't matter if Cheese goes down. Doesn't matter if that's a fresh hook. That's only 3 stages, everyone else is going to be at the door here, and the survivors able to bounce back all 3 out the door just like that, and they were a bunch of filthy gen rushers, I'll tell you what.
I mean, they were, but Winter Edit failed to close down his chases quickly, and I'm afraid that's what happens. If you think you're getting gen rushed at home, maybe you just need to be a little bit more clinical with your M2 shots.
And the save, man.
The save was so big. I mean, what a flashlight save. We did not see that coming, and neither did Winter Edit as they got blinded full screen. But that is definitely going to be the victory for Misery, with Ducky securing the 7 stages, but Night Owls only securing 3. Or 2, I've forgotten, 4, something like it. Less than 7 is the key part of it. But we're going to head to a little break as we are going to go travel to Midwich, where Dredge will be battling out. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're on to game number 2. It's Dredge time when we're on Midwich and we're locking lockers. Now, before we start the action, before Yatos finds our first survivor, I do want to say the balancing thing. Most of the perks against Dredge are banned on the survivor side. Spoiled out cheese straight away. And so literally they have about 10% of perks to choose from. So I'm interested to see what the survivors have chosen. I know cheese has chosen the palette straight away to drop against Dredge. But I think it'll be a good learning experience for all you folks at home who are watching competitive Dead by Daylight, to learn what the other perks in this game actually do. So I'm quite excited to see.
And we do see, as far as the add-on with the extended night duration of the nightfall, as far as with the broken doll, and then also we got the increased charge rate with the 66% with the skull there. So kind of a nasty little combo, I think you had mentioned earlier, as far as within the actual campfire chat. So I mean, we're seeing that here now. Obviously, you've been able to find your way onto Abby, get the first M1, but at this point, all you can really do is just hold M1 through the. Or all you can do is hold Shift W through the hallways. It's kind of the strongest tactic here, right? It's just right now you've at least got an extra body you can throw away. You've got a God pallet that's definitely going to go down here, but already got a couple of pallets out of the way. First gen down as well.
Yeah, 2 God pallets out of the way, but this is exactly how you play Midwich. You just hold W down the corridors and drop a God pallet when you come to it. Pretty textbook stuff from Abby, and secures her team the first gen. So Yatos going to try and increase his nightfall by teleporting, and teleports straight in front of Ducky. He gets a smack in the face to let him know where he's going. And this is what we were talking about in the campfire chat. Communication needs to be on point. You need to let your teammates know when you think the Dredge might be teleporting, so everyone can be on guard. Ducky running down, no balance landing. As we were saying, most exhaustion perks apart from head-on are banned, but he's got a Plighter forehead there to take some hits from. Yeah,
now obviously here things get a little bit where that communication that you were talking about really comes key, because now things are about to be getting dark up here in Midwich. You're going to be able to get the 3rd hit as well, so obviously Sloppy Butcher comes into effect here. So now you're going to see Leave and Chase going to try and see if maybe you might be able to find or interrupt somebody who's healing you to at least get yourself the heartbeat, so you know you got 1 in here. But you can hear that generator has a whole lot of progress on it, so gotta start feeling the pressure here, knowing that that's probably not the only gen that's far. You found the heal though. This is huge. You got 3 injured survivors all around you.
Yeah, this is what Yatos was playing for. Getting a few injures with Sloppy Butcher, and then he wants to find the heal spot while in Nightfall, and he's done it perfectly. He just needs to secure this down, though, and Nia detaches as he goes into his Remnant play. She detaches and comes to this pallet. Not the best one in the world, but she's got one next door, and she's going to hop over to it. Oh, running out of space here, and we're going to go down just by the window. Not going to make that one in time, and we have our first down of the game. And will it be a pain res hook?
That's the real question here, right? Because if you can get that in before that second generator pops, and yeah, there it is. That's going to be the pain res. You also see only 1 of our health states have been able to get changed here, and you've been able to find where the reset was happening. You take over the pallet space here. That way you're at least going to be able to shut that thing down. Abby's going to get hit once again here as well. So 2 injured survivors, which is obviously going to help with accruing that nightfall once again, thanks to the add-on here, and should be able to eventually play the mind games here to get Abby down. Abby's going to go over the pallet, and it's going to come in pretty well as the save comes in right now. So kind of a good little fight back here. Nice little start here.
Yeah, I feel like Yatos has played this one really, really nicely, using the perks they've got and the add-ons they have. Just perfect tandem. They're getting a lot of injures, they're interrupting the spots during Nightfall. That extra 20 seconds was massive, and now because he's got 3 survivors injured, that's 66% times 3. You can do the maths at home. He's playing this really nicely, his add-ons and perks combined. But now he's got Pop Goes the Weasel, and I'm sure he's going to apply it to this generator. He's going to ease things off a little bit as he's waiting for his Nightfall to come back. Doesn't use it actually straight away. He's going to go back to try and interrupt something.
And try and see if you can do a little scouting around the map here. Been able to at least come out of a locker. You've got some scratch marks, and you've been able to find cheese. You've also got some pools of blood, so you have an injured survivors here as well. That's going to be Abby who takes the hit. Now you're going to try and see if you can at least force this pallet down. That's one more resource that's going to be out of the way. You've got yourself another hook stage here as well. It's going to be hook stage number 3 before we see a second generator popping, which is quite big here. I'm going to assume that this is just going to be where we're going to see him teleport right away. Try and see if you can find somewhere to get this pop kick applied.
Yeah, he's heading towards this gen, but he's going to break the door just before he gets to the gen outside, and I wonder how much percent that is. We know the one just below one of the exit gates was pretty far progressed, but I think he's just kind of teleporting around because that does increase your Nightfall, and as he teleports, that will start Nightfall. Now remember, the survivors no longer see how long is left, so they're going to have to intuitively count 1 minute and 20 seconds because of the Broken Doll add-on. Here comes Yatos, thumping down the stairs. Remember, Dredge is a super loud killer, which can make it somewhat easy in chase, but what doesn't make it easy in chase is darkness. Here comes Cheese. For the people actually applied, heals straight up to Abby, and it's going to take the down for Abby. Firecracker goes off, but that's not going to do anything for now.
Yeah, I mean, you were kind of stuck in a tough spot, right? Obviously, you'd like to get to Abby, but with the For the People play, that would take 2 hits. You might as well just go ahead and get Cheese here. Sometimes beggars can't be choosers when it comes to those hook stages, but the good news for you, if you're Yatos, is that is going to be another fresh hook here as well, and you haven't used any pain res on that, which is unfortunate. Some additional slow down that you could have gotten, but obviously with the hook being so close, you got to take it where it is.
Well, I wonder if the way Yatos is playing this, if he wants to like kind of play towards an end game and try and actually get all 4 kills. So holding the pain reses isn't the worst thing in the world. He's got pops to play, and if we actually have a look at the gens around the map, they're pretty decently close to each other. So maybe Yatos has been setting this up from the start. It seemed like he had a great grip on the game to start with, and he let it go slightly, but I think that was all deliberate in order to get something done. Ducky with the perfect pinpoint reactions to get that pallet down. Remember, if you're walking near a pallet, you can actually vacuum to it a little bit more. That's what Ducky used there to get the pallet slam right into Yatos' face, who's now heading back up the stairs to find another survivor on a weak pallet. It's Nia again. This time she's not going to detach, not going to go down next to that window, but 2 more survivors get spotted out. It's Cheese, who already has a hook stage on him, and Yatos would love a kill right now. And he's going to deny it with a slight body block in the doorway, and now he's going to decide who he wants to chase.
Yeah, you can see coming out of the locker right by our injured survivor here, going to be able to bait down the pallet, and this is your survivor that will make this a 3v1. The good news, since you had everybody throwing body blocks earlier, you know that nobody's really been working on those generators here, so if you can get this down, yeah, it's a little bit bigger of a tile space to be working around. There's the mind game, though, going to be able to get Abby down, and I don't think it's going to be enough time to at least see generator number 4. This could be big. This is kind of where you can start snowballing things down once this becomes a 3v1, and with those pain reses still left, kind of like you were talking about.
Yeah, but I think pain res right now is absolutely essential because you know there's a gen that must be just about to pop. Is it going to be a pain res hook? It is indeed. And it's the death as well. The death as well. The blown up skill check. That gen must have been absolutely massacred. Abby goes down, and it could be Misery going down as well. Yatos with an incredible play against Misery.
That's so big. So you got yourself the pain res. At least 1, if not 2, of the missed skill checks from those things popping up at the unfortunate time. Plus the Pop Goes the Weasel. Very, very unfortunate. That generator just got hit with so much regression. Also, Nightfall kicks in here as well. You've been able to find some scratch marks, working your way around the library, trying to see if you can locate at least one of these survivors here. You've been able to find Ducky back along this way, but you've got 1 filler that you can work around. Going to be able to at least place that down. Doesn't get the hit right off the rip. And remember, with no pallet already being thrown here, there's no safety. That's just going to have to be an M1, but what kind of distance can they build here?
Well, it's difficult against a Dredge, but I'm not sure he's going to be worried about the chase now. He just wants to secure these gens down, because I think from the Survivor side, they're going to switch their approach. Instead of thinking about getting people out, they want to get their 5 gens done, because it's a really difficult situation. We saw all those missed skill checks and the pain res demolish that gen, which they were kind of relying on to get done. The whiff on the pallet vault as Nia runs through, and she's going to connect onto here. Yato's waiting a little bit, just wanted to secure that pallet space, didn't quite get it, wasn't the worst whiff like the one we saw earlier. Chases her down, actually got her spacing just right. No, a little bit overcommitted towards Dredge, and he gets the hit away. So that sloppy butcher applied, which is always big.
Yeah, Cheese has now going to be the only survivor that is currently fully healthy. You're going to see going to go ahead and teleport, and it's going to be another one of our lockers that was, you know, locked up that's now going to lose that there. We're going to see the reset now also coming across onto Ducky, but able to find your way on to Apply to Forehead. Do keep in mind, of course, Apply to Forehead was a survivor who was able to serve a little bit of juice in a big moment in set number 1. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do so here. Hook stage number 2. I think Apply to Forehead is one of the survivors that still has the pain res available here as well. So if this happens to be that's going to be some additional slowdown. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case though.
No, I think, to be honest, I think Applied to Forehead has already had their pain res used. They were our first hook of the game. I think that was the pain res, but I could be wrong as well. But anyway, that's not the important part. The important thing is he got a pop, goes the Weasel on that big generator. Remember, it's 25% of the current generator's progress, which means that's a big chunk of the gen that gets taken down. Didn't used to be a thing, used to just be base 25%. And now Yatos looking around, so it used to be base 20%. Oh, the vault straight back in. Cheese maybe not paying attention to their bearings. Gets caught out. We've seen a couple mistakes against Dredge now in chase. Yes, we've had some Nightfalls, but this is out of Nightfall. No excuse for that, Cheese. Now, the Remnant play, more of a 50-50. He goes all the way around. Is he going to teleport? No, he holds it. What an absolute beast. She vaults straight back into him, and he gets it down onto Cheese. He must be pleased with that play.
A big down here because you just had a reset going on. So again, at this point where you know there hasn't been too much objective work getting done on the other side, and you mentioned earlier, as far as for our survivors, they're at the point where they're trying to see if they can at least crank a 4th one out, give their killer the opportunity to play around some sort of 3-gen. We know this one has a decent amount of progress. Once again, that's going to get the pop, goes the Weasel off of a gen that was about 65-ish%. So still some big value. You see a survivor that is coming in towards the library. You might be able to cut him off here, and remember, this pallet's still down. At least creates a little bit of separation.
Yeah, no, I think what the Survivor's got to think about now is, are they going to go for these resets? Obviously, they can't hear Cheese now, who's kind of getting tunneled out of the game. Or are they going to double man a gen? Because we thought about if they could get 5 gens done. Now it might just be about getting 4 gens done, so their killer has something to work with, because he cannot work with 3 gens. Pointing the pallet, but no way Yatos believes that. He's going to pick up straight away. The other 2 survivors will be cranking out gens. Oh no! Emo straight away as the save comes in for Cheese. Yatos didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. And the pallet save comes in. Now he has to disengage. He's got to go protect his gens because he doesn't want to fall from popping. If he can prevent it popping, that's almost a guaranteed win for his survivor side. He spots Nia bolting down onto the stairwell. Nightfall is just about to activate. Vertical Head wants to stall us out, but this pallet has been gone for ever such a long time. She runs away, and this is looking great for Yatos.
Now I'm going to be trying to chase him down here within the hallway. Going to go ahead and obviously teleport towards that locker up the distance, try and see if they can cut things down. Instead, now going to break chase. Wants to check back in on these generators, knowing that we're obviously in the middle of nightfall. That's going to help a little bit as far as being able to close down on these survivors here. Going to go to the other side here. Good play. Does get the M1 before Cheese is able to make their way through the window here. So another down, and that gets Cheese taken out of the game as well. So now it's going to be a 2v1. Ducky needs to see if they can stay hidden away and maybe make some sort of crazy end game play, because that's a lot of stages still available.
Yeah, this gen, doesn't quite get done as well. Cheese needs to last a little bit longer. She wasn't quite able to react to Dredge teleporting. Didn't have the patience to just stay at that window until waiting for the Dredge teleport. It was very unfortunate, and they noticed the second they vaulted, they realized they'd made a mistake, tried to vault back, but it didn't work out in time. 1 gen does get done though, and that wouldn't have been the gen that popped, so the survivor still could be on it for 5 gens. If Applied to Forehead, could take a big chase, but I don't think they got distance for the window. They're not even going to try to do it. They go around the table, and Ducky has got to run.
And now here slugging for the 4K, understandably so. Want to try and see if you can catch this survivor out of position. Able to find Ducky here, and now Ducky's going to have to try and see if they can make some sort of magic play happen. I mean, really, at this point, all you can really do is hope to build enough distance to get the other player up, but you've already got a lot of your resources down. You still have the one back here within the actual nurse's room, but that's going to be a first M1 through the pallet here, and I feel like at this point it's just about curtains.
Yeah, I think we're just going to get the final last hurrah of Ducky, who actually runs straight back into the killer, maybe anticipated the teleport, but he goes down, and that is going to be it. But I think the important thing is they got that 4th gen done, which caught me off guard as well, because I thought this gen in our room we're looking at right now was the most critical gen. There's actually another one Mia was working on in the background. So good stuff from them. They've given their killer a chance to possibly tie the set if they want to play for the 3 gen, but it's going to be really, really close, and everything's to play for in our next game.
And our killer has done a good job of making sure that their survivors here in this next trial don't have to worry about any sort of real like end game play as far as with no ed, right? Like, as much as it's easy to make it sound simple on our side, saying all they have to do is complete the gens, but like you don't have to worry about getting stages out the door. So really good performance on their side. Nice job by the survivors though to fight back to at least make the win con a little bit more attainable. That 5th gen even almost still popped as well. So showing fight through and through all the way to the end, and ends up being a really good performance.
Yeah, a deserved 12 stage for Yatos. Only letting survivors do 4 generators, and I really, really liked the way they played it the whole way. They had a game plan, they stuck to it. You could see they were they're trying to just prevent the gens at the end, because they knew once they got that kill onto Abby with pain res, and we had their missed skill checks, they knew exactly what to do from that situation, and they played it. Great from the survivors to get that 4th gen done, but we'll see how the Night Owl survivors can do right after a quick break.
All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog, going back to school, back to Midwich. It's going to be Ducky hanging out here on the Dredge, needing to try and set the pace here early, try and see if we can locate our first chase here. Going to find their way through some blockers, going to see if they can find someone out of position, but our survivors doing a good job of stealthing right up off rip, at least until, I mean, that's like Shaq gen going down at 5 gens, my guy. This must be a comp game.
It must be a comp game indeed. I want to stress, we saw Ducky do really, really well on Pyramid Head with his M2 ability, but now he's got to play a different sort of game. He kind of wants to, because they didn't have the best performance in the world on Survivor's side, he kind of just wants to play for a tie maybe, and then get a reset so they can have another go at it. So he's going to be looking to hold on to 3 gens, which is a different sort of skill as we saw him doing on Pyramid Head, where he just kind of obliterated the survivors in chases with his power. So we know he's very good in chase, but you need a different kind of skill set for Dredge. Yes, there are jack of all trades, but you need every single one. And Winter Ed again caught out with just the basic M2. Ducky showing he can use any killer's power.
Yeah, a little bit of a nodder there, it looked like possibly, but regardless, it is going to be hook stage number 1, and it's also going to be a pain res here. When you run that pain res, and you happen to get that thing hit on the very first gen because your first chase is relatively quickly, that's a big old feels good. That's a big old fat W right there, and it's going to be good news for Ducky, because now you can kind of take a little bit of time to try and, in this case, you see taking down some broken doors, getting those extra things out of the way, making sure that there's less for you to deal with for some of these later chases, because we know you can't allow them to get all these gens done.
Yeah, a little killer to-do list as you get into Midwich. A lot of doors and stuff you got to break. Get these pallets down early, whiffs onto the chairs, and now it gets hit by a pallet in the face for it. The Remnant actually, I think I saw go down next to the wall. No, he doubles back through the doorway. He's going to have to break this pallet. We saw earlier, breaking these pallets around these windows is really strong. Once they're gone, it's very difficult for the survivors to do anything. The Yatos take strange pathing, and he's going to get caught out by the Dredge before they can make it to this pallet. There you go, the hit comes in. Lucky break, they're going to be able to escape, but you can't escape Nightfall. That my words have just left me there. I've forgotten the word. There was a big noise and Nightfall's coming.
The good news here, at least for Yatos, is you are going to be able to make it to this pallet here, get stunned stupid, plus 10 wood added to the face, making their way into the nurse's room here as well. Get stunned again! But you are still now basically stuck at this point. You're going to try and see if you can make a play. You got the firecracker down, aren't going to be able to make a connection. Make your way back up into this room here underneath the library. Big value, though, for having basically nothing eventually going to go down, but should have hopefully bought enough space for Gen 2 to pop here shortly.
Yeah, he's going to have to pick the right gen. correctly, and it doesn't sound like it because that gen is on 0%, so he's going to be hunting this one down. But while he's doing this, remember, he doesn't have Pop the Weasel. He's losing maybe a pain res. It seems like with the Surge instead of the Pop Goes the Weasel, he's going to go for a slightly different playstyle to what we saw from Yatos. Gets a swing onto David, which is big actually. With Sloppy Butcher and the Malthinker Skull, that's going to be good Nightfall progression, and it means he should be able to get quicker down a little bit later on. Coming out the locker, he can hear the heartbeat, knows he shouldn't have to worry about a flashlight from Nancy, which doesn't come in, and he's going to hook a little bit late. The pain res isn't going to stop it.
Gen number 2 getting here done, and we only came across the one, and you're not going to be able to make it to a hook either here. Another game where Ducky overextends, going for a hook, going to make things a little bit longer here, and that's that flip-flop value, baby.
Yeah, that would caught Ducky off guard, and I can't blame him for that one. Leaves the wrong survivor on the ground for too long, and he gets hit with flip-flop for it. Remember that most of the meta perks are banned, so we're seeing these wild and wacky perks. Flip-flop proving some value. Winter Edda gets hit over the pallet. He's going to be running for the hills, and 3 gens are popped for just 1 hook stage. Maybe slugging Jin was just the wrong decision.
Oh man, this is tough here. Now Ducky going to be feeling that pressure again, realizing that the tie condition is just 1 generator away. You have only gotten yourself 1 hook stage here as well. You are going to be able to get dug down, and this is where you got to hope that maybe you can get yourself some big surge value. Able to find an additional injured survivor here as well. That's going to be Yatos, but Yatos is going to go down here as well. 1 survivor sticking to a gen. All they got to do is get 1 more for the tie, so understandably so, but is Ducky just going to go for a full-on slug here?
It looks like they're going for the slug, and knowing that Yatos has flip-flop, that's a bit of an interesting decision. Goes and picks up David straight away, and he's going to have to be very, very aware that Yunjin is going to be about 50% wiggled already. This should be another pain res. Indeed it is. A little bit more slowed down, and he's going to cancel the slug attempt. Maybe he's just looking to find another survivor straight away, but Yatos gets saved. He's going to go straight back to it. Here's the heartbeats. He does, yes, on the other side of the room, knows exactly where to go. Sees Ace creep over that pallet, who's already injured, and this is such a difficult one to play against Dredge. Oh, but he gets it spot on. He nails the timing on the Remnant and bolts back through. That's going to give him some extra time. Nancy hopping into a locker, it seemed like, just for a second. And, he's found Yatos again.
Yeah, went back for the unhook here. At this point, you got to try and find someone out of position, try and get someone down. Able to get Yatos down, but once again, leaving Yatos slug. Maybe didn't realize of the flip-flop potentially. I feel like they had to have been a call that you could have made there, but also going to be able to get Winter here down, which is big. So obviously leaving a slug gets you some additional pressure here as well. Yeah, it's going to be Winter going up onto a hook. Winter is also 1 stage closer to being removed from this trial. Now moving way back, you found yourself an additional survivor as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to see another stellar chase out of Ducky. He's had so many downs. He hasn't quite converted all the hooks from it. We've had Yatos been picked up about twice now without getting hooked. 1 from flip-flop, 1 from just normal healing. But while he's doing that, if you have a survivor down, you're adding pressure to the game. The survivors have to get off the gens and go and kind of assist, or calls have to be made. So even if you don't get the hook, it's still great pressure he's applying, and it's all because of his fantastic chase of it.
There's going to be the reset coming across onto all 3 survivors, so still got a little bit of time to make their way in for a save. You found Yatos. You've also got Turdug around here as well, so now you get to split that pressure once again. You've got Turdug moving in for the save. This is going to be an easy decision for Ducky to move on back towards the unhook. Get the first M1 onto the David. David's going to be able to build at least a little bit distance. Goes the opposite way as our survivor coming off the hook here as well, which allows Winter to get to some extra safety. Also, Turdug's going to go down here, which allows for the surge. And right now, Ducky trying to scratch and claw his way back into this.
Yeah, Durdug couldn't quite pull off what Ace did in our previous chase. But this is a bit dire for Ducky, because if 1 more generator gets done, remember that's the primary win condition, the survivors will have 1. So they're just going to be looking to pop out this gen. They will happily leave Turdug on the floor if it means they can get that last one done. Here comes Rats now, first chase of the game. Going through, the pallet stun comes in, but they get hit for it. And they can't make a lot of distance of that. They had the lag from putting down the pallet. They're going to bolt over the top, and Dredge not chasing it. He knows there's no balance landing in play. Didn't want to confirm that down. He's now just so scared about his generators. Remember, he has Surge online, so as long as he keeps getting downs, he can prevent these generators from popping. But these survivors have great windows to play with.
Yeah, you got plenty of good opportunities here, and you've got so much time to still play with as the survivors too, right? They've only surrendered 3 hook stages, which is plenty of time for them to kind of play a little bit more patient. You don't have to overextend trying to get these generators done, because last thing you want to be doing is getting caught out of position while you're in Nightfall, while you're injured, especially if you're a winner here. But right now it seems like her survivors are pretty spread out. We haven't seen any resets come across just quite yet. Ducky doing a good job of getting passive pressure by being all across the map at different times.
No, he needs to find a down straight away. This has to be super clean. He's going to go straight for it. Gets it onto David, but now he needs to find more. You have 4 survivors up. It's just impossible to defend gens for that long. You need more surge, and you need some hooks straight away. Like you said, only 3 gens given up to the killer. He's going to go for a quick teleport, but this locker's locked. It's just not working out. The things aren't coming together for Ducky. He has to defend this final gen. A down on Doug, but that was so long ago now. He couldn't find it onto Yatos, and this game is just slipping away from him.
Yeah, you can hear some more progress every time we walk by these generators. Our survivors trying to do a good job of pre-leaving here. Unfortunately, another situation where a survivor gets caught out and is injured here. But if there's anything that we know with the way that Ducky's been playing, going down, it doesn't necessarily lead to a hook stage. Ducky 2 swings through the pallet space, trying to see if you can buy additional time, be able to kind of block that thing up because you don't want to get stunned with it. Able to hold W though around, is going to be able to get the down on to Rats, but generator number 5 pops off in the distance, and that's going to send us to set number 3.
Yeah, it felt almost inevitable that final gem was going to get done. Ducky couldn't secure those downs quick enough. It was great communication from the survivors. They seemed to always be aware of where Ducky was. He couldn't really catch them off guard. That basically ultimately allowed them to not get snowballed, not allow Ducky that surge value, and he's got his 5th gen done. So it doesn't really matter what happens in endgame. We're going to keep rolling it for your entertainment, but Nightfall have won, so we are going to set 3 on the night in the Ironworks of Misery.
And you see here, still trying to play around our palette. That's going to be winner edited. It's the survivor who's technically worth the least amount of points of the ones that are, well, I guess really completely in the game, because even Rats being on first hook currently, but that's going to be 2 out the door. Nice, strong performance from our survivors here from Night Owls. And I'm going to be curious, do you think it's Ducky who's going to be coming right back out on the night that's going to have to kind of bounce back from this performance, or they have somebody else playing it?
I think it's going to be difficult because we know Applied to Forehead does have a killer as well. They have a spirit. We know they can play killer. They're more comfortable playing at this level. But it's tricky because Ducky's got quite an aggressive playstyle. We saw from this, we saw he's running Surge. We saw his Pyramid Head was really, really good. But when it came down to just defending these 3 gens and playing for that long-term condition, it didn't seem like they quite had it. So I wonder with Knight, who can be one of those killers where you play a more of a long game, it's not just chase, chase, chase. I wonder if they're going to switch things up a little bit, because Yatos did a phenomenal job at a long-term game plan with Dredge, which I feel like is going to benefit them when they play Knights.
And they're at it here, trying to see if they can crawl their way across. Nope, not going to be able to crawl their way across. But imagine, though, if you'd have been able to find your way through Midwich, that would have been a big mistake here. But Ducky going to be able to secure up a 2nd hook stage here. So as we had talked about, Night Owls winning set number 2. We're going to be able to get to see the Night, which should be fun. A killer that we don't, really always see in comp, and we mentioned it about it in the campfire, that for this to kind of be the tiebreaker should make things really interesting. Do you feel like with the way that this series has played out thus far, that you are you still leaning the Misery way, or do you think that Night Owls might have the momentum and that might carry them through?
I don't know, that was such an impressive performance from Night Owls, and from Yatos on the killer side, I was so impressed with it, and I was wondering if Ducky was going to be able to adapt, but I just didn't see it for me. For me, Night Owls are going to take this next set, but there's only one way to find out. We've got to go to a quick break and set up the next game. Don't go anywhere, guys, because this is about to be super intense. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the tiebreaker game. It is the Night, and it is Misery on Killer First, on the Ironworks of Misery. Oh, the Misery. The entire team of Night Owls is his enemy, but he will spare them no sympathy. And best intro.
I love it. I love it here. And you can see, obviously, very quickly trying to see if we can locate someone over on Edge map here. Not going to be able to find anyone right up off rip. Wouldn't be surprised to see on Night, to see more of that kind of more immersive gameplay early. Rats is going to be able to take the first one here. Winter Edit also going to be found as well. First M1 coming in relatively early. And of course, this chase happening up in the corrupt side of our map. Now actually be working towards the main building. Wouldn't be surprised to see them try and make their way to the stairs. air, but not enough distance to be able to get there. Is actually going to go to the outside, just going to go ahead and continue to hump main and try and get as far as possible. I think they actually make this window up top as well.
It's going to be tight, but I think you're right. It depends where their window spawns. If they've got the long one, they're not going to make it. Oh, this is going to be so close. No, I think it still just makes it. Yes, they just about get away with it. It doesn't break the door. He's going to vault in, and this is turning into one long W. Win to edit with superior pathing, I have to say, because I'm surprised Ducky hasn't caught up much quickly, and he gets all the way to this pallet. What? Made for this is definitely banned, especially against Knight, because you're actually faster than two of the guards if you're running made for this. That's not it. I think it was just amazing pathing from Win to edit, and Ducky eventually gets the down. But wow, that was a long W.
Yeah, able to buy a lot of time after the very initial first health state change there, right? So able to buy enough time actually for generator number 1 to get done basically in succession with that first hook there. You also got another gen sitting around that 65-ish%, so already really starting to crank it, and that's going to be able to do a good job of starting to build up and kind of separate this map here as well for our survivors.
Yeah, and we're just going to slow things down a little bit as Ducky's kind of deciding what they want to do first. I think they're looking for a couple of openings, see if they can find some stray hits to get some momentum back into it, because I think it was a pretty solid start from our survivors. So we're just going to slow things down, chill around, look at the scenery of the Ironworks Misery, and has our assassin spotted anyone? No, not just yet.
Now here, it's going to be a little bit longer of a play. I mean, you mentioned obviously having to take some time here, moving in for the unhook as well, and now things get tricky because you do have obviously the guard moving their way in here. Gonna actually force the M1, gonna be able to get it before the health state change, but that's a very quick down. Should actually be allowed to leave the slug here as well. Gonna try and see if they can cut him off with the next guard here as well. That makes things interesting. That's gonna make it harder for Winter Edit to get away for free. That allows Ducky to go back for the additional fresh hook.
Yeah, you're right. Winter Edit can't do anything now for... That's the Carnifex I think we had. So, not going to be able to do anything for quite a substantial period of time, 24 seconds, I believe. But I want to shout out to Rats that the play they made was really, really nice. 99 that sprint burst, so after they got contacted by the guard, they could sprint in. And then you saw there, they just before the guard was about to hit them, they went for the unhook, which means that as soon as you start doing the unhook action, the guard disappears. He won't carry on chasing you, so the guard disappears. That forces Ducky to hit with the M1, and he can get the trade off. So really, really nicely played there from Rats to get a beautiful one-to-one trade.
Now going to be trying to use this one here to cut off the pallet space and obviously deter our player from moving in. You've got players moving in from both sides for this unhook, which is beautiful for Ducky. It lets you know that you've only got one survivor potentially cranking in on these generators. And now you're going to be seeing this hook stage probably, what, 10 seconds here yet from coming across, which means Ducky's just got to delay things just a little bit more and gets a second. No, doesn't get the second hook stage. Actually, the save comes in just in time, and now you've got to count down that borrowed time.
Yeah, Rats with sprint burst as well is going to be able to make it to this pallet still with endurance. Someone else takes the assassin away from him. The whiff comes in slightly early. I think he wanted to hit the end of the BT. Excuse me. But I think the strategy from Ducky isn't really going to work out here, because as we saw the way Rats performed it, they were able to get the save pretty nicely, and we are going for a long chase here. He's actually going to switch targets for a little bit. No, I think he just wants to try and build up Bloodlust, but he hasn't got it just yet. Places the guard down straight away, but Rats comes in with the pallet save, and Yatus is there to help as well. That takes... Oh, has the guard though. Has the guard straight on them. I don't think they're going to make it to this pallet this time, and they're going to go down. Still second stage, but I'm not sure this camping strategy is working from Ducky. We saw Rats with a beautiful one-to-one save with perfect timing and execution. If other survivors do that as well, we could be looking at a really, really strong result here for Misery.
Yeah, the one problem though is where these hooks continue to come across is on the portion of the map where a lot of these generators are left, right? So you can't exactly just have a whole bunch of free time. You can see Ducky's going to be able to put pressure on multiple people here. You've got one person, which is Winter, holding that guard. Now it's going to be Yatos, who's going to have to figure out if they want to play things safe or not, which does leave room for Turdug to be able to come in for the save, and once again able to find exactly perfect timing. Now I'm going to try and hold Shift W up to the other side of the map, but doubles back. Not sure if that's the play. Turdug's going to take the M1 here. Now Rats only has this little filler.
Yeah, I'm so surprised Rat didn't head for that filler, which on the other side of the map, which I believe was still up unless he sent a guard to break it. But now with the assassin on him, he has to just hold W and try and get away as much as possible. Oh, they've got decent distance here. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. No, the guard Knight closes down on them just in time. Rats goes down, but crucially, one of those gens in the middle of that tight 3-gen area gets done. So a pretty good trade offer there for our Misery team.
Yeah, that main gen getting done is huge because that breaks up the 3-gen. You have the one that's going to be over the right-hand shoulder that Ducky here is actually going to be sending that guard towards. So you know that you've got a deep, like really, really good spread here. You have been able to find Sir Doug. You know where they're at least currently, but can you be able to at least stop the reset onto one of these two? You'd like to be able to find yourself another hook to be able to kind of start the snowball with now that you're in this 3-person game. Instead, it's Yatos that's going to get found in this 4-lane.
Yeah, best survivor for Misery to give up here because they are still healthy. If Ducky finds another down, this could be really, really difficult dealing with all these gens and having someone on a hook. So Yatos is going to stall this one out as long as they can. They're going to head round. They've got balance round into play. Did they use it in time? No, they didn't. They get hit as they boing away and now heading towards the other side of the map. And I wonder if we're going to get a little reset. It depends how far these gens are done. No, that gen was so far ticked. And I think it was Winter Edit who got forced off. Oh. Yes, he's going in. 4-lane pallet now to play with. Ducky gets aggressive, swings straight through it. He has the vault to play with, and that's life. The perfect exhaustion perk in that moment. These survivors have got it nailed.
Yeah, life indeed is life, and now going to be able to go upstairs, which makes that chase, I mean, at least easier against, obviously, what they're working against. Now Ducky has to break chase once again, because it's been a little while since we checked in on this generator down at kind of what our comp players would call like our 7, right? We know that that one was far away from the rest of the gens. Has Shaq Pallet to still be able to play with, but Yatos isn't going to throw that thing too quickly. Actually makes the good call of just going right on through. Shaq Pallet's still going to be left for later if they need it.
Yeah, I really want to reiterate, Winter Edit actually got the flag, which meant it was barely any time the assassin was on them, so he would have sprinted with that speed boost you get from a flag straight back towards the gen. Tardog is going to go down in the corner, but I think Winter Edit should have his gen done very, very soon. Will the pain res come in time? I'm not sure if this is a pain res hook. This is going to be so close. Onto the hook goes David. It was a pain res hook indeed, and that could foil Ace's plans.
And now you can see, obviously, Yatos was expected, but Ace already has that resilience cranking right back into that generator. Generator number 5 pops off right there. And now Ducky going to be stuck in a situation. Do we want to try and protect this fresh hook that's currently sitting up on there? That's going to be some extra stages. Do we try and find Winter Edit, or preferably, can we find Yatos, who is our last fresh hook survivor? That's going to be the no way out. That clicks in across the way, so 48 seconds until our survivors can start working on the exit gate. That should be enough to at least get you to secure a second stage.
Yeah, there's no point going for Winter Edit there. It's still the same number of stages, the same number of fresh hooks. It's just Yatos who he wants to find, and that guard beam is just not close enough. Ducky needs to find this reset point if he can work it out. He sees the doors aren't being worked on, and now he's going to start piece things together. He knew the last position he saw Winter Edit and where Yatos was. He's found Yatos now, and this is a big chase. Yatos against the guard. Takes a little juking space. Oh, but it goes down. Oh, it goes through the window, and the Knight's on the wrong side. The pallet's going to go down, and he's going to get straight away from this.
That's a nice play by Yatos there to be able to get enough distance. Now you can't help but wonder if maybe you might be able to. You think you moved? Save gets the endurance flag from the flag at the window. Takes the hit. Going to be able to continue to go. That's a bunch of distance here.
That was the most perfectly timed flag I've ever seen. That's an incredible play from Yatos. Calculated so precisely. They have the basement if they want to use their balance landing just a little bit. They've still got this pallet up, and they're walking around. The guard isn't going to touch them. Coming back to the pallet again, but I think there's the distance there. No! The whiff! Millimeters away from taking down Yatos, and now is the reset coming through. The guard is... Knight is right there. Ducky wins the mind game as she tries to exit the tower and get towards the hill. It doesn't happen. Yatos is going to get hooked in basement, and that's it. The other team are going to evacuate.
Oh man, that's a lot of stages to be handing over in the end game. That makes this a pretty strong performance still here from Ducky. If they don't get the save, which there's really no reason to come in for, that's going to be 9 stages. So pretty solid. 3 out the door, which is a nice little kind of performance here from our survivors as well, especially because at that one point, after 3 gens were complete, you kept getting those hook stages up on that top side of the map. Kind of a sticky situation. Able to fight through though and get the gens done, get stages out.
Yeah, no, I think it was a very good performance from the survivors. I think the biggest moment there was Rats. When he took that extra chase and managed to stall it out a little bit, yes, Rats went down, but for that, they managed to break the 3-gen, and that was super crucial from the rest of the team to get that done. They had to kind of monitor how they're going to support Rats in his chase, but they managed to break the 3-gen, and in the end, got 2 survivors out. All generators done, 9 stages for Ducky. This is going to be super close. We're going to catch you guys right after a quick break.
All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog, back to the ironworks of misery. Misery out on the survivor side. Rats trying to see if they can get the 10 stages here, or maybe even shut the whole game down before the last gen pops. Going to be able to find Apply to Forehead relatively quickly here. From Apply to Forehead does have a filler palette to play their way around. It's going to hold W all the way back to Shao. Don't do it. I know it's comp DBD. Okay, didn't throw the palette. We're good. We're Gucci. We're fine. It's going to have to use the life to prove that it is indeed life, but didn't get big value there.
Yeah, but he's got pretty good distance actually using that life, and the guard has gone on a big trip, and he's going to go all the way around here. Perfectly played. Is it played to perfection? He doesn't want to go for the window. Oh, he's going to get double tapped actually if he's not careful. He does. He gets hit straight away. No cooldown on the knight. He doesn't vault back inside, and the guard comes down straight away. He did well actually to not get double tapped in that situation. It looked pretty scary, but Apply to Forehead still keeping it going. They're going to get spotted by the guard very soon, but the guard's going to go back into Shaq. He drops the pallet to trap it in there, and he's going to be free to run actually.
Yeah, he just holds dub. But is our killer still back there? He's still back. It's Shaq. Apply to Forehead. Got so much distance here, and that is really, really unfortunate. We will notice that we ran by a gen that had some regression to it without getting kicked, and of course we also see that down there in the bottom right-hand corner. Rats bringing in the Ruin here, something you don't really see these days.
Yeah, we saw it like once, I think last weekend, and he got cleansed instantly, but not to be cleansed just yet. And so if he can keep interrupting survivors, he's going to get some good value out of it. A guard of the night, a pretty good killer to have it on. So Rats is going to take it, going to have another crack at Shaq. He's here, but I don't think he's quite got the distance for this vault. They're going to head straight for it. The Shaq pallet is down, but it doesn't matter when he's still got the vault to play with. Abby does a fantastic job with the double vault in. Now they can head back to the filler pallet next to Shaq, and Rats has got to start closing, getting some downs on these survivors.
Yeah, now you can see here, going to try and use the guard. Doesn't get control there, doesn't get attached as well, and now still has the window to play with. Going to use that window to get to this one here at this little tile as well. And man, Rats is really struggling to get any health state changes. Apply to Forehead gets reset over there, which means you probably have someone who's going to, I would imagine, maybe potentially start looking for the Ruin, or maybe they just hold on to these gens, honestly. I mean, at this point, they've had a good little progress without having to find the Ruin itself. There's generator number 2 already getting done, and only now are we seeing our first down.
Yeah, and I'm surprised he's going for another hit here. I would just take it down. It's taken so long to get this stage. You need some pressure on the map because those survivors complete their gens and they're going to be straight onto another one. You need to get pressure, and hooking towards the middle of the map is a wise decision. He needs to be there. He needs to create some chaos and put them in the corner of the map. Would not do that at all. So he's going to put Abby up on the hook and look for another survivor now. He's got Ruin and Pop, but he can't use Pop Goes the Weasel yet until Ruin gets applied and have the survivors work that one out.
Good news, though, is you are going to be able to find your way towards the gen. That has a decent amount of progress, so that Ruin's still going to help you as far as that regression. But yeah, you mentioned that regression you could have also applied with that Pop Goes the Weasel. Not going to get used out of it there. Life going to come in once again, proving that it is indeed life, as we also are going to be seeing Rats continue trying to push all the way across the map. You got an attachment going around the water tower here. Not going to be enough to be able to get the health state change on the cheese, and Rats needs to be able to get somebody down here soon.
Yeah, these chases haven't quite happened enough, and mistakes like that is not what you need in this kind of situation. The guard just about goes onto Cheese, but it gets cancelled as soon as he slices Cheese with his big sword, and Rats needs to close this one out. Going back to Shaq, which hasn't worked out so far, but no pallet down. He goes for the guard play. I thought he would have gone for the M1 and just played around the windows, but no, goes for the guard play, and I think that might have been a little mistake because another gen gets done, and he's still not closed this one out. Cheese paths back to another pallet. They drop it down in the face of Rats, who's on the wrong side, has to zone them back the other way. Dodges the flashbang with a couple of spins, but this is bad because Cheese has distance for the window.
And is going to go through it, and you saw Rats trying to double back to see if they can close the distance. Instead, once again, moving into this tile here. Cheese keeping the aggro over here, makes it through the window, not before taking the hit from the big sword, and unfortunately is going to go down. Abby going to be lurking in the shadows, not going to be able to get the save here. Rat's going to be able to secure hook stage number 2, but I can't help but wonder just how close this is to be able to get generator number 4 popped already. That's crazy.
Yeah, we need to have a look at a little bit of the gen spread to see if you can grind some stages out with close gens, but they're pretty far away. They've got 2 both close to each other. Yes, it's on the same side of the map, but it's a long way for the guard to travel. He has the extra 10-meter add-on, but I don't think that's going to carry him to victory. He needs a heroic play and a big blunder from the survivors, maybe a double tap. In he comes with some extra speed off to place in the guard. He's going to go and find Cheese, and the tunnel out here could be really, really good.
AC going to be playing the games around the pallet space here. Cheese going to be able to drop that. Apply to forehead. Does also get hit off in the distance. Free health state handed across here. We're going to be moving back towards the shack side of the map. Rat's going to be able to at least cut down this pallet. A little bit less time to play with. Trying to see if he can track down Cheese. Cheese makes it at least over to the shack. You also got Abby moving in with the body block as well, but very quickly takes the M1. And I think because of that, Rats might decide to switch targets. I think Abby would be another fresh hook, right?
I think so, but I mean, at this stage, I don't know if he can really play for any wins with fresh hooks and stuff. He just needs to get everyone down. Oh, and we're talking about survivor blunders he needs. Abby goes down to the guard straight away, basically. The guard goes through the window and chops Abby in half, so now he can get this hook. If it's a pain res hook, this could be massive because it will really give Rats an opportunity to come back into the game. But no, doesn't quite get there in time, and both gens pop just like that. He wasn't quite quick enough. The ruin doesn't work out for him. He could never apply his pop. Goes the weasel. 5 gens get done, and he needs a miracle to keep Night Owls in this. But it looks like Misery are going to be progressing through the back here. Apply goes down. He's going to have to hook pretty quickly, but with no way out, the door gets opened, and with the survivors leaving, that will be Night Owls eliminated from the event. Misery taking it 2-1 over Night Owls and progressing through to losers round 3. We'll see them tomorrow.
Yeah, big shout out to Night Owls, though. Appreciate them coming through and hanging out with us for, I think, most people's favorite off-season event of the year, obviously with it being this time of year. But man, our survivors here from Misery put on a show here in all 3 sets. Not to really discredit their killer. Their killer obviously also did well. Ducky did in all 3 sets, but it really just felt like it was their survivors that were setting the pace and setting the tone from the word go.
Yeah, no, you're right. It felt like while Ducky had a really strong performances to give the survivors of Misery a chance to do well, if the Misery survivors turn up and play well, man, did they win. I mean, we saw that there. 3 survivors out through the door, barely any stages achieved by Rats. The chases were so good, and when they stepped up, they did well.